I want to talk a bit about rewards and consequences, partly because a lot of the recommended interventions have to do with those, and I think there are real problems here. In terms of rewards, what I've learned, what parents tell me, is that kids with ADD typically lose interest in the reward pretty quickly. Or you get a situation like, okay, here are your chores, and if you do your chores, you get a reward. And it goes really good for about 3 days. And then the child doesn't do the chore. They don't get the reward. They don't do the chore the next day. They don't get the reward. Eventually, there are no rewards, but there are no chores getting done either. So that's a problem. The other problem that we know about rewards is that if we reward a behavior, later on when we stop rewarding it, the person stops doing it. They go, well, what's in it for me? What do I get? If we don't use rewards, sometimes there is an alternative, and this is the use of incentives. And I don't think this is just a verbal difference. An incentive basically says, this is something you need to do, but if you'll do it in a cooperative or willing manner, something positive will happen. And so an incentive says, unlike the one with the chores, if you don't do the chores, I'll browbeat you till you do the chores. But you don't get the incentive unless you do it cooperatively. With rewards, we often emphasize the reward has to come real quickly for it to work. But incentives can be helpful often if the incentive is often after persistent effort. So if your child has to do something, do a book report. So they're supposed to take notes, go to the library, write a first draft and all that, and you have steps. And you put an incentive that if you would tackle each of these steps along the way in good attitude and best effort and all that, when the book report's done, we'll do something special. And that tends to pull along a lot better motivation and get the youngster involved in the process. One thing I found, I think it's better to hold out the opportunity to do something. Go someplace, bring some friends along, rather than a thing. Because the anticipation of getting to do something actually acts as a reward as you go, where once you get the thing, you got it, it's done. So activities are better incentives. With younger kids, the incentive has to be sooner. With older kids, it can be further along. But I would think incentives rather than rewards. Now, remember the good job, I love you, all the natural reinforcement. This is good for kids in general, but I don't think praise and such like that by itself changes the ADD behavior. I think it improves the relationship, but incentives is a motivator. Let's talk now about punishments. The problem with punishments is that if the misbehavior is frequent, then the punishment will mess up the relationship. It'll either damage the relationship you have with your youngster or the parent has with their youngster, or it leaves the youngster feeling badly about themselves. There's something wrong with them, that they're always in trouble. And in my own practice, a lot of times I'll have kids come to me, not always, but a lot of times, they're presented as being depressed, having ADD and depression. And what I look at is I see they've got the ADD and there's such a constant emphasis on negative consequences because things weren't done or things were forgotten, that it's just, it's driving the child down into the ground. So getting away from punishment is really important. On the other hand, we can't just let certain problem behaviors go. And so I'm going to talk first about a lot of problem behaviors that we look upon as really stemming out of impulsivity, poor decision making, or doing things that lead to negative consequences, but so tied into ADD and impulsive behavior. So the first thing in dealing with these behaviors really has to do with the parent. You need to be calm, because if you're angry or upset, if the parent is angry or upset, this is not going to go anywhere. And there's no need to settle something in the moment. If you're upset, calm. Get calm. Similarly, if your youngster is terribly upset, you need to get them calm. And I think the best way is to say, you need to stay here or go here until you're calm, or until I decided that you're calm, and then I'll come. I'm not talking about using time out as a punishment. I'm using as your time yourself out till you calm yourself down, because we want to teach kids that the only person who can get them to get control of their emotions is themselves. Once they're calm, the first thing you want to do is undo the defensiveness. And the best way to undo the defensiveness is say, I know you didn't intend for this to happen. The child may have wanted to get to the front of the line, but when they pushed other kids out of the way, they didn't intend for all the negative consequences. They just wanted to get to the front of the line. ADD kids are impulsive. So saying you didn't intend to, and you have to figure out what they didn't intend. They may not have intended to get in trouble. But you want to start out with, I know you didn't mean to. If it's not an intentional thing on their part, then you have a chance with the next part. And the next question is, okay, well, you may have to listen. The next part may be listening to what they said. But often what happened is fairly clear. So the next question is, to them, with you, is, what can we do to fix this? And fix it is make it right, address people's hurt feelings, or set it up so that this isn't so likely to happen. And this now opens you into your range of possible consequences. If you hurt somebody else's feelings with your behavior, how do you address that hurt? What's the fix? And typically in this case, the fix is two parts. One, it's an authentic, I'm sorry. But the second part is to do something for that person that says, I need to do this for you to repair the damage in our relationship. And when we look around the world, this reparative notion for harm really goes a long way to settling lingering bad feelings. But it can be a small thing. Do this, what can you do? Here's a task you could do. You could carry this, you could let them borrow whatever. If it, we're talking about more serious things, but that's the first part. How can you fix it? The second one, though, comes down to, what if there's damage done? Stuff got broken. Somebody's stuff got destroyed or lost. Okay, how can you fix that damage? And then that comes down to, what can you do? What can you give them, make up for them, take on for them? But you can also add, what would be fair if this happened, and you might do well to say, if this happened to this kid and they did it to this kid, so they're taken out of the picture, what do you think he could do to kind of fix the situation? Take it out of the personal. Okay, think that's fair? Okay, let's try that. That solves it. The third one, though, is what if the action represents this sort of impulsive behavior that's either dangerous or harms other people? And in here, the solution is not grounding, but the type of restriction that says you're restricted from that activity for some time-limited period, and then we'll try again. It's this time-limited restriction that is most effective. So I'll take one that, let's say at school, a kid gets in trouble on the playground a lot with ADD. The restriction might be, you need to stay near the monitor for the next week or so. And then you can go as far as this equipment. And let's see how you do. And if they have trouble, let's bring it back and then extend it. It's kind of, remember when a child is young and you walk through a parking lot, you hold their hand so they don't dart in front of cars. And then the next thing you're doing is you're just saying they have to stay by you. And then you're letting them move on their own. And eventually they're driving to the store on their own. That's the notion. Because what you're implying is what they did is not okay, but that they can learn to be better. And now the internal incentive is on the child to demonstrate that they can do better. And so this extended restriction until it's all gone is what I'm proposing as a solution. Again, there is no punishment that will cure ADD. There is no punishment that cures impulsivity. But the use of this type of incentive and this sort of let's fix it, let's do some reparation, let's extend out back freedom or privileges, if you will, Well, privileges, I don't want to say that because we're not withholding privileges unrelated to what they've done. So we're not depriving them of dessert because they were disruptive in school. In the school, if you're disruptive, you may need to sit next to the teacher for a while, and then we'll move you back, not take away their dessert at home. When setting the restriction, you can try and find out if you actually ask your youngster, how long do you think you should be restricted before you're ready to try again? And if they say, well, I'm ready right now, you say, well, no. It's hard to control ourselves, being, just is. What do you think? And you could propose some time limit, maybe negotiate. But again, now the onus is on them to do well. The last thing on this, the nature of the restriction, the nature of the reparation, whatever, should fit the degree, the severity of the problem. Kids with ADD, they're more impulsive, they do more problematic things. Oftentimes, the small stuff, ignore it. Focus on the positive stuff. But when there is a bigger thing, these are the tools you can use.